Hello everyone, Bodum11716 back with another video. So we got some tennis players in the background there, so if you want to watch them, go ahead. They just arrived, so they'll probably be here a while, so that's a weird coincidence, but it's completely fine. Anyways, yeah, it's been quite some time since I uploaded, 9 months, so I last uploaded in September of 2021. And here I'm back. It is currently May 29th, 2022. And it is a Sunday, the day before Memorial Day, and it is a beautiful day, so I knew today I had to do this video. It's been too long. I wanted to do this sooner, but life has been pretty busy, as I'll get into. And yeah, we got the birds chirping today, the sun shining. Wind is kind of high, so hopefully it doesn't mess with the camera too much. And then hopefully they're not too loud with their tennis screens, but we'll see about that. But yeah, I just watched my old video, so I have some updates to get into. And I'm just visiting from Wisconsin to visit the family for Memorial Day weekend. So I'll go back to Wisconsin later tomorrow evening, do some grilling tomorrow. It's supposed to be a nice day for Memorial Day, luckily. So get some nice burgers on the grill and just eat with the family, and then head back up to Wisconsin to my apartment after dinner tomorrow. We'll probably eat an early dinner, but so that's what I'm doing this weekend, just relaxing with the family. And then yeah, I go back into work on Tuesday. But yeah, I just watched my previous video back from September to kind of see what I was talking about then, to kind of fill in some of the gaps for what I'm doing now and what kind of changed. So yeah, last video I was about to start school. So it was September, and I think I was literally going to start school that next day. Or the next week or something like that, but I know school was right around the corner, and I was signed up for 1 in-person class and 2 online classes. So 3 classes in total that semester. It was the fall of 2021 semester. And yeah, 1 in-person, 2 online, 9 credit hours total, 3 credit hours each class. And yeah, the semester went really well. I got all A's, which I was not expecting. Because the previous semester, so my first semester in grad school for my MBA, I got 2 B's and 1 A, which I thought was pretty good. And then my second semester, so this previous semester that I had, fall of 2021, was all A's. So super happy about that. Didn't think I would get those grades, but there I was, and I did it. The classes weren't super hard, but I still didn't think I'd pull all A's. So extremely happy about that. And then yeah, the 1 in-person class went pretty well, so I had to drive to campus every day, which wasn't too far. It was probably 20 minutes north of my apartment. And then yeah, the class was like at 5:30, so I left work pretty early at like 3:30 maybe. Went home, ate a little food, changed, and then went north to class to make my class at 5:30. I think it lasted from like 5:30 to 8. Maybe 5:30 to 8, so 2.5 hours, something like that. Yeah, I think it was 8, maybe 8:30. So it was a long class. It was just once a week. I think it was every Tuesday, maybe every Thursday. I don't know, one of those days. But yeah, just once a week. But the class went well. I like learning in person more. I could have taken all online classes, but I wanted to have 1 class in person because I like learning in person more. So the classes went well. The online classes went well. I got all A's. So the semester went really well for me. So now I have 6 classes remaining till I get my MBA, which is super exciting. I'm taking 3 classes. I'm already signed up. So 3 classes fall of 2022. So my next semester, right after the summer, is when I'll take those 3 classes. And then right after that, the semester following is spring of 2023. And that will be another 3 classes to finish off my MBA. Hopefully. That's the plan. But yeah, I'm already signed up for this semester, so that should be good to go. And then yeah, just that spring semester to get all my credits done, and then that'll be it. So I guess, yeah, since I take 9 credits per semester, I have 18 credits left, and I already took 18. So yeah, I guess exactly halfway done with my MBA. So pretty cool. So a year from now, I should be graduated and have my MBA, and then not have to worry about that anymore. And then in the future, maybe get like a certification, I don't know, like CPA, CFA, CTP, not sure yet. Haven't really thought much about it depending on where I want to go in my career, or if I want to stay strictly in finance, or as a financial analyst rather. I'm probably going to stay in finance for a while. But haven't really thought too much ahead. I'm just going to get my MBA first, and then all that will sort itself out down the road. So yeah, that's kind of the update with school. Happy to go back to school. Going to take one class in person again to online, and then I'll probably do that same thing for my spring 2023 semester to finish off the degree. So the COVID update. So COVID is actually kind of waning at this point, which is obviously great news. So COVID's still out there. People are still getting infected, if you will, but it's just not nearly as much as it was in the past, especially with my past video. So COVID is kind of on the slowdown at this point. People aren't really talking about it as much, primarily probably because there are more pressing things in the news cycle right now, and I'll get into those in a bit. But yeah, in terms of COVID, I don't think there were any new like big variants or anything. So it was like the Delta variant, like, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago, and that was kind of severe. But I don't think there has been a variant since, or at least not one that I've heard of. So it might have been like a smaller variant if there was one. But yeah, overall, like the mask mandates are loosening up. So I was just on a plane to Minneapolis last week for work. And that was the first time I was able to go on a plane this past year where you did not have to wear a mask on the plane. So the government lifted those mandate restriction rules for mask mandating on planes. So yeah, a lot of people didn't wear a mask on the plane, which was nice to see that. So yeah, the mandates are kind of loosening up, and vaccination requirements are loosening up places. I think that's the same all across the world. So it's really nice that we're at least getting more back to normal during those pre-COVID times than we had been like the last year or last 2 years. So it's nice to see things getting more back to normal for sure. But yeah, and another reason that COVID is kind of on the background right now is just because of everything happening in our society. So primary thing right now is the Uvalde, Texas mass shooting, and the school shooting that happened like exactly 1 week ago, I think, right around a week ago, where 20 people died, I believe, right around 20, and most of them being students. So this was an elementary school in Texas where the shooter grabbed, like, I think an AR-15 and went into the school and just started shooting kids in a classroom. Extremely tragic situation, obviously. So a bunch of innocent kids dying. Anytime kids are dying, it's just like the worst thing you can think of. And obviously their families and parents couldn't imagine what they'd all be going through. But that's kind of taken the forefront in the news this past week. I think this was the biggest like shooting or school shooting maybe since Sandy Hook back in 2012, I want to say. So obviously on all headlines and getting details and stuff about this shooting is kind of on everyone's mind right now. So that's kind of taken the forefront in the news cycle. And then we have like the Ukraine-Russia stuff. So I think Russia is still invading Ukraine, and that war is still ongoing, and current administration wants to send in a bunch of billions of dollars over to Ukraine to help them fight off Russia. And then so that's another thing in the news cycle right now. And also kind of domestically in terms of the US, like inflation skyrocketing, gas prices are skyrocketing. I think I filled up my gas tank, just regular 87 octane, for I think like about $4.50, right around that mark in Wisconsin. And I saw a regular 87 octane here in Illinois over $5 at some gas stations since I'm visiting here. So gas prices are shooting through the roof. Inflation in general is through the roof. Even like going to grocery shopping and stuff like that, all prices are just super high right now. So inflation across the board is getting out of control. So the economy and the stock market is down a lot. So overall the economy is just not doing well. So a lot of people are hurting and struggling in this economy. So there's just a lot of things, I guess, happening right now that are kind of in the news cycle. And I think all these major things happening and major things to talk about are kind of pushing COVID a little more out of the way than if these things weren't happening. I think that would elevate COVID if these other things weren't in the news cycle right now. So I think that's one of the reasons why COVID is not really getting talked about as much right now, but also these things are very serious as well, and they need to be addressed in society. So a lot of people are focusing on these things rather than COVID. So yeah, I guess to end like the COVID part of it, like not as many people are as concerned with COVID right now as they previously were before all these things happened. Myself included. I mean, I was never super scared of COVID. I never got vaccinated. I knew I was in a very low risk of death, and I knew basically everyone was in a low risk of death unless you had severe underlying conditions, as well as you were extremely old. So basically 99% of the population, it was just like the flu to them if they were to get it. So nothing too pressing in terms of mortality rates. So yeah, I've been running a lot lately. Still running. Still love running. I just actually completed a half marathon about a month ago at this point in Milwaukee. So it was called the Brew City Half Marathon, and that was super fun. I got a time of about an hour and 44 minutes, which is about an 8-minute per mile pace, and that was my goal. My goal was to stay with the 8-minute per mile pacer the whole time. So they have pacers at like 8 minutes, 7:55, 7:50, 7:45, and then like 8:05, 8:10, 8:15. So they have like people pacing these races throughout the whole race, and like they encourage people to like stay with their pacers so they know what pace they're going on, so they don't go too fast or too slow, so they have a goal in mind. And I'm like, okay, I think 8-minute pace is a good pace for me. So I stayed with my 8-minute pacer basically the entirety of the race until like mile 12, I think. So there was like a mile or two left, and I was still feeling pretty good at that point. So there was a group of like, so it started in our 8-minute pace of like probably 15 of us all running together at the 8-minute pace, right? And then I'd say maybe halfway through the race, so mile 6, like a few people were dropping off. So maybe there were like, I don't know, 10 of us at this point. And then us 10 stuck together for a while. Then maybe like mile 12, 13, more of us dropped off, and I was still there. So maybe by mile, I don't know, 10-ish, or maybe like 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around those miles, there were only like 5 of us left. And then yeah, by mile, I think I was literally the last one at mile 12, with like a mile to go. So everyone had dropping off before that, and I think like there were 3 or 4 of us at mile 10 to 11, and then at mile 12 it was literally just me running right next to the pacer. So everyone dropped off, which makes me feel pretty good because I was the only one who actually was able to make it with my pacer the whole race. And then mile 12, I'm like, hey man, thanks for the pace this race. I'm gonna go ahead and see how I can finish. And he's like, yeah man, go for it. So I went ahead at that last mile, and I think I ran the last mile at around a 7-minute pace. I was feeling extremely good that race. I was very lucky, and it was a beautiful day. Good weather. I think it was like maybe around 55 degrees, low wind, mild cloud cover. I think it was mostly sunny, but a little bit of clouds here and there. So it definitely wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, it wasn't too windy. The weather was basically ideal for that race. So I was super lucky in that regard. And then yeah, finished under an hour and 45 minutes. So I think I got like an hour 44 and 30 seconds or something like that. But yeah, it was a great race. I'm super happy with how I did, and I would definitely do something like that in the future. And then now I want to run like a full marathon eventually. Probably not this year, which I'll get into that a little more later, because of some health implications, but maybe next year I can run a full marathon. But other than the half marathon that I just ran, yeah, I ran like a lot of 5Ks these last few months as the weather has been getting nicer. So all of the winter I kind of stuck to treadmill and ran 5Ks on the treadmill, stuff like that. I didn't run too long of distance on the treadmill. But then once the weather got a little nicer, probably around March-ish, when the snow kind of melted and there wasn't like ice on the paths or anything like that, I got into outdoor running again. And there's a nice loop around my workplace where I can run, and I think it's about 3.4 miles total. So I usually just run 3.1 miles. I run a little less than the loop, and then just run that 5K just over and over again for usually a couple times a week, as long as the weather's nice enough for it. So I like to do that at work, and then I haven't really ran any 5K like official races as of lately. I mean, it's still early in the summer, so early in the season, so I probably will sign up for like a 5K or two later this summer. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, for now I'm just kind of like running on my own, running to be healthy, and then running to get my blood pressure down, as I kind of explained in my previous video with my stage 2 hypertension, which kind of leads me into my next kind of topic along those same lines of why I'm running so much. Oh yeah, also I raced my coworker. So my coworker was like a really good collegiate athlete. He ran like sub 14-minute 5Ks back when he was in college. So, and this was like 10 years ago when he was running like in undergrad. So he's older now, he doesn't run as much, but he's still like a good runner and a natural athlete. So I'm like, hey, I run a lot and I'm decent. You used to run a lot and you were really good, but you obviously aren't as good as you were back then now. So I'm like, hey, he's competitive, I'm competitive, you know, we're cool like that. So I challenged him, like, let's race like a 5K and a 1 mile. And we raced last week. He definitely beat me in the 5K. So I ran actually a PR. I ran a 20-minute, 30-second 5K, which is about a 6-minute and 37-second mile for each mile as my mile pace. So that was my PR. Like before that, I had run like high 20s, so maybe like 2040, 2050, something like that for my 5K record. So hitting a 2030 on the street was super nice, and we just ran around the campus of our workplace after work one day, and we put $20 on it. So I gave him the 20. I conceded. I'm like, good job, dude, you win. So he got right around a 20-minute 5K, and I got a 2030. So I still hit a PR since it was my best. And then, yeah, he hadn't like run too much since then. He ran a little bit, trained a little bit here and there for it because he wanted to win too. He didn't want to lose to me. But I was definitely training a lot harder than him. But since he was a collegiate athlete and he was naturally really good at running through college, he was still able to beat me, which I'm still happy about. I'm completely fine that I lost. Like, it was a fantastic race. I had a great time. We were sticking together for most of the race, and then like, or for the first mile at least, and then by mile, after the first mile ended, he just like took off and just continually gapped me and kept the gap moving forward and forward the rest of the race. So he did a really good job, and I'm happy with how that went for him. And I hit a PR, so I can't even be like sad about how my performance was. So I hit my personal best, and he hit a really good time as well. So although I lost, it was still a really good race. But maybe in the future I'll train harder and challenge him again and hopefully win, because I'm super competitive, and although I lost and I was happy about how the race went, I still do want to win. So maybe I'll challenge him for a double or nothing and try and get my 20 back. But but that's for the future, and I might not do that depending on how my blood pressure goes, which is my next topic, which is I just started blood pressure medication like 1 week ago. So it's called Losartan. It's a blood pressure medication, and it's paired with HCTZ or something like that, some acronym. A diuretic, I think it's called. I'm not too sure about it. I let my doctor handle it, and I'm just like, tell me what I need to take, doc, and I'll take it. I should do more research on my own, but I'm not really good at researching medications and like bodily functions and stuff like that. So I've just been taking that the last week, trying to get that down. It's a pill a day. So currently I checked my blood pressure to see if it went down. I was averaging like 150 to 160 systolic over around like 80 to 90 diastolic. So that's stage 2 hypertension, which I talked about in my previous video, but it's definitely well above average, and like it's a dangerous level. So I tried to run this past year to take it down, and it really didn't work. I minimized sodium, didn't work. My blood pressure stayed high this whole year. So I finally went into my doctor like a month ago. He prescribed me medication, and then I finally started taking the medication about 1 week ago. So I tried to take it down naturally with eating healthier, eating low sodium, running as much as I could. Didn't work. So my doctor said it was probably due to genetics and that I should be on medication. So I agree with that, and I started taking the medication 1 week ago, and here I am. And it hasn't really had an effect yet, which isn't too surprising, because he said it could start, maybe take a couple weeks for actual results to come down for my blood pressure. So hopefully in the next week or two I can actually start seeing some numbers start falling with my blood pressure. But until then, I'll just keep taking the pill. I have experienced some symptoms. So I've gotten like some muscle aches and fatigue that I think were attributed to this Losartan pill that I've been taking. I'm not completely sure, but I think that's the only thing that's changed in my life. So chances are that would be the reason for these muscle aches. Sleeping, it really hasn't affected my sleeping, but it has made me more fatigued just throughout the day. So at work, like I sometimes have to put my head down, like on my desk, because there's a plane right there, so it's kind of loud. Okay. Yeah, kind of loud still, but whatever. Whoa, how long was that in my head for? So yeah, I've been taking. Oh yeah, I had to put my head on my desk sometimes at work, and luckily no one said anything. But sometimes I'm just super tired to where I need to just put my head down and take like a few minute rest, and then I have to go get coffee to kind of get some caffeine in myself to try and stay awake the rest of the day. So that's kind of hard, and I think this is just while I'm taking it taking this new medication. So once my body hopefully gets accustomed to it, it'll kind of slow down. I'll read a little more into it. I'm not too sure, but I've kind of read a little bit into it, and maybe that's what's causing it. Maybe it's just since I've just started taking this brand new prescription, my body is experiencing these symptoms. Once my body gets a little more used to it, it'll still take the blood pressure down, but kind of get rid of these symptoms and go back on my normal cycle. So also what this medication does is I believe it's been negatively impacting my running. So when I tried to run a 5K on Monday this week, so yeah, I guess 6 days ago. So I'd been taking this pill for about 3 days at this point. So I tried to run the 5K on Monday, and it just went terribly. So as I just previously stated, like my PR 5K was a 20 minute and 30 second, 20 minutes, yeah, 30 seconds for that 5K. And I tried to run a 5K on Monday, and I ran a 29 minute and 50 second 5K. I had to walk multiple times throughout the 5K because I was just exhausted. My muscles ached, and I just felt terrible throughout this whole run. And like I ate healthy before the run, I stretched, I did everything I normally do, except I had just started taking this pill 3 days prior. So the only thing I can think of is that this medication is impacting my running and is impacting my muscle aches, is the reason I'm getting fatigued, is the reason I'm getting out of breath sooner. So basically the run just went awfully. I had to walk multiple times. I got like the worst 5K time I've probably ever had in my life. And I almost got 30 minutes for that 5K. So it just went terribly, the whole race. So I'm basically attributing that for sure to the medication. So I'm taking a little time off of running, maybe like a couple weeks here, and just taking it kind of easy, going for walks, maybe slight jogs here and there is what I'll plan to do. But in terms of actual running and actually trying to hit PRs and stuff like that, I'm definitely not going to do that for the next couple weeks. Maybe run a mile here or there, a slow mile. But yeah, I really want to try and stay kind of as calm as I can these couple weeks while my medication is transitioning into my body. And then once I kind of feel a little better and I experience less fatigue, less muscle aches, I'll start to run more. And I'll also check all this with my doctor to make sure there's nothing more serious going on. But in terms of my running, yeah, this has been impacting my running, so I'm going to take a little time off of running while this medication is started with me. And then also another symptom I experienced because of this Losartan medication was I started getting really lightheaded and kind of dizzy when I sat up from like a chair or I got up from a couch, to the point where I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. It was at night, and I got up from my couch in my apartment to make dinner, right? Because it was probably like 7 p.m. It was after work. I was just chilling on my couch, and it was time to make dinner. So I got up. I was laying there just on my phone, just watching some YouTube videos. Got up, took a couple steps to the kitchen, and I actually fainted for like a moment. So I went to the ground. I luckily caught myself, so I didn't completely just like go from being completely conscious to completely unconscious. But like I was like really woozy, and I felt the lack of blood in my brain because of standing up so fast. And I kind of caught myself, but went all the way to the floor and realized what had just happened afterwards. And then once I like hit the floor, I gained full consciousness back. And then I basically got up slowly, made sure I was okay, and luckily I was, because I caught myself. Which this kind of thing has happened to me a couple of times before in my life. I'm a pretty tall person, and I think I have poor circulation, so when I do get up from like a couch or something, sometimes I do feel a little dizzy, but it hasn't been to the point where I actually like lost full consciousness like I did this past week. And I think again this can be attributed to the Losartan, just like maybe lowering my blood pressure a little bit, as well as giving me more fatigue and getting my body used to it. I think that's the reason why I lost that blood to my head, and why I kind of fainted briefly after getting up from the couch. So that was kind of concerning, but again, this has happened to me before, so it wasn't too concerning, but only a couple times in my life. And what are the chances that one of the only times this has ever happened in my life happened 3 to 4 days after I started taking this new medication, without the medication being the contributor? Those chances are very low, so again, I am contributing this event to my Losartan taking. So that's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing it has to be the Losartan in this case as well. But since that day, I was kind of worried. I was on the cusp of maybe I should call my doctor. I didn't. And then I have been feeling a little better since then, and I've still been taking the medication. So hopefully I'm on the up and up in terms of this medication giving me bad side effects. But if not, in the future, I'll change something, and I'll make sure I get it addressed with my doctor. But that was kind of like definitely a scary episode, and especially since like I live alone in my apartment. Like if I was to faint and something was to happen to me, or if I wasn't able to help myself and I didn't have my phone on me, who's gonna find me? Like I guess I have to just start screaming, and hopefully a neighbor will hear me, and my door is locked, so they'll have to get the police to barricade, or to get in my door. This is a little scary as well that I live alone, but again, I don't think it's anything too threatening, and I have been getting better. So since then, maybe I'll get one of those life alert things, but no, just kidding. I mean, I could, but yeah, it has been getting better. So I'll keep taking the pill, and hopefully that kind of stuff is in the past. And then yeah, just getting up from couches, I'll be a little more cognizant and get up a little more slowly than I previously was. Anyways, now that all that stuff's over, I can get into a little bit of like my work and stuff. So yeah, like I said, I've another car showed up. Okay. So like I said, I've still been working at Uline as a financial analyst. Been in that role for a year now. It's been pretty good. I just got back from traveling from the Minnesota branch, so that's the branch I kind of take care of in terms of the company branches that we have. Where I go over their expenses and their financials, and kind of give a report to our finance team, as well as Minnesota's branch's management team for the company. So I do that monthly, and then I actually visit the branch a few times a year. Usually it's going to be 3 times a year. One in October for budget, one in March for a financial presentation, which I gave and went really well, and that was really fun. And then one in May actually for forecast, which I just got back from that one last week. So yeah, I've been visiting the branch about 3 times a year for the past year. That's all been super fun. And I have been, yeah, in terms of the job itself, there's not too much to say about it. It's a lot of solo work. It's a lot of me being behind the desk and just working on my own stuff, my own projects, my own reports, and then getting it up to management to review, and then sending it out to upper management to check that. And I also do some logistics stuff where I review the carriers we use. I review the finances of these carriers. So I've been doing that, and that's fun. Other than that, in terms of the actual job, yeah, I wish there was more, I guess, like project-based work that we could work on with our coworkers. So we're a department of about maybe 12-ish people, and it's basically all solo work. So we don't really talk too much to each other, and we're all relatively young and new in our careers. So I think it could be extremely beneficial if we would kind of be assigned like projects and ad hoc projects, so we could work in a team, maybe like 3 or 4 of us. Maybe management wants a project to get done, and they want us to research something. So instead of the current, what we currently do of getting one person to do this ad hoc and just doing it alone, and then having upper management check it, maybe we can get in teams with like 3 to 4 people and throw this project at us and meet like once or twice a week, delegate tasks, kind of work on it with each other, and then go to our own desks and work on it alone a little bit. Stuff like that. We don't do that at all now. We just do completely solo stuff. So I actually brought this suggestion up to management, and they're like, yeah, that is a good idea, but nothing has come of it. They haven't changed anything, and I don't think they really will change anything. It's just a lot easier to keep the status quo, to keep the current way of doing things. It's a lot easier to do that and keep that going than to actually implement more changes. So obviously I'm like just an analyst. I'm not even like a senior or manager position yet, so I don't have like that power to change anything at this point. But if I was in a management shoes, and if I was part of management in the department, I would personally recommend that we would get these changed and try and implement these changes. But aside from that, the job's good. It's really flexible. I can basically get in when I want, leave when I want. I work on my own schedule, and as long as I hit 45 hours a week, then that's all I need to do, as long as I also get all my work done. So doing that is fun, but there are just some little things here and there that I definitely would change about the department if I was in a role where I could change it. But overall, it's still a good job. I do expect to be here for another maybe 1 to 2 years in this department, and then at that point I'll decide, do I want to move up in the department, become like a senior analyst or something, or maybe move out to a different department to get some more experience, kind of like I did from credit. I started in credit, I moved to FP&A as a financial analyst after 2 years of credit, and then I now have 1 year of financial analysis under my belt. Do I want to stay here another year or two and do the same thing and then move to a different department, or stay here for the long term, move up to a senior, and then kind of help the newer analysts along the way as that senior, and then also obviously a pay increase, stuff like that. So some benefits that would come from staying in the department, but also I do want to learn as much as I can about the company. So maybe moving to a different department within finance at the company would be the better route. Haven't really decided yet, but still I want to be in this department at least another year, maybe 2 years. So that's something just down the line, but that's kind of how my work is going. In terms of the market, so the overall stock market is not doing too well. So as I say, like the economy, inflation is super high, the economy's down, the stock market is down too. So I'm down since I'm heavily invested into the stock market. So I can't even remember if I said this in this video, but I know my last video I said I was up 3K, so $3,000 in terms of my total gains over the last year. And now I'm down 1.6 grand since my last video. So overall, from my last video to now, I'm down about $5,000 total from my high. So I'm down 1.6 grand in terms of what I invested. So I have a net loss of 1.6 grand. But if you take into account the gains I made from my last video, from that time invested into the market, I'm down about $5,000. So that's kind of, or I guess 4.6 technically, I rounded up to 5. But that's kind of sad with how the market's going. But again, whenever the market dips, that's just a better chance to buy into the market and buy at a lower price. So I'm kind of taking that as a good sign. Plus, I think the market's going to go even lower. So I haven't even been investing into the market too much as of these last few months, even though it is lower. I'm not selling at all. I'm going to hold no matter what, because also I do want to buy a house next year, so I don't want to put too much more money into the market. But if the market does continually dip, which I think it will be, it's not even close to the lows that we saw during COVID, during the dip of COVID. So it's not even close to getting back to those levels. And I think it could get kind of close to those levels in terms of just how the economy and inflation is doing, and all the policies our current administration is implementing. So I think basically the market still could drop quite a bit. And I don't want to invest right now, when I think it will be dipping lower. So I'm going to wait a little while and see if the S&P 500 and Dow Jones and cryptocurrencies continue to dip. If they do, I'll start investing more when they get lower. If not, I'll just hold my funds. I'll hold whatever stocks I have in my portfolio, and then I'll also just keep accumulating cash. I usually don't like to hold cash, but with the purchase of a house next year, hopefully, I don't want to invest too much in the stock market, have the stock market potentially tank a year from now, and then not have enough money to basically buy a house, because I really want to get out of my apartment next year and switch into a house. So as for my investments, yeah, I'm just sticking to safe broad market ETFs. I don't do anything with options anymore. Haven't done that in months. And yeah, I'm just investing a little bit here in ETFs, but I have kind of stopped investing the last month or two just because of my me buying a house next year. And I want to make sure I have plenty of cash to buy that, and I don't want to invest too much in the market, have it tank, and then not being able to afford a house. That'd be worst case scenario. I really want to get out of my apartment. So yeah, I guess I can talk about like my wanting to get into a house now. So I've been in this apartment, well, I've been in apartments for like 4 years at this point. So I've been in a dorm at college, and then I graduated college in 2019, been in an apartment ever since. So yeah, apartment for 3 years, dorms for like a year or two. So I kind of want to get out of the apartment / non-house living and want to get into my own place. I want an actual house versus a condo because I want my own yard. I want my own house to do what I want with. I don't want to deal with the homeowners association, that kind of stuff. So I would much rather have my own house. So haven't been looking too hard, but I still have a year. So my lease will end next year, and hopefully I'll have enough money to buy a decent house. Nothing too big, but I do want a nice yard. Maybe at least a quarter acre is my planning on what I'm going to have for that house. So don't exactly know which town I'll live in. Hopefully somewhere between like Milwaukee and Illinois. I like that area. I like those towns like Oak Creek, where I live now, Franklin area, maybe Pleasant Prairie, probably not Kenosha, but somewhere just like in between that group of Milwaukee and the southern border of Wisconsin is where I would want to buy a house. So I'll start looking a little bit this summer and just like kind of driving to different towns and trying seeing what other houses, what other areas I like, stuff like that, and then just seeing what's on the market. So that's kind of one of my plans this summer, is just to visit some towns I haven't been to around the area and just kind of just see what I like personally and what I might want to move into in the future. Some other plans this summer, just kind of keep running as long as my meds allow me to. I want to continue to run. So like I said, I'll take a couple weeks off running, but once I get a little better with my meds, hopefully I'll start bumping up my running a little more, at which point I'll hopefully run a marathon, because the half marathon was so fun. So this summer I'll plan to continue to work hard on my running and just get that up and increase my endurance, increase my long distance, short distance, all that good stuff. That's kind of the plan on what I'm doing with this summer in terms of exercise. Yeah, get my blood pressure down, so continue to take those medications, eat healthy. Probably not as healthy, because with the blood pressure medication, I can probably afford to eat some more fast food here and there. Nothing crazy, but maybe once a week or something, because I was pretty strict and it was pretty hard to eat like rice and chicken and beans every dinner. Like that took a mental toll on me, so I want to try and eat some tastier food. Hit McDonald's once or twice a week is what I'm trying to say, but still eat healthy overall, but have more cheat meals than what I previously did to try and take this blood pressure down. I want to go to New York in August again to visit my father. So unfortunately my grandmother passed away I think like 8 months ago or something. So luckily I did get to see her one last time before she passed back last year. So now it's just my father, and I wouldn't be able to visit my grandmother anymore, which is obviously sad, but she lived a long life. I think she was low 90s, so lived a very long life, which I'm happy for. And I think she died pretty peacefully, which is always a good thing. So can't really complain too much about that. But Definitely would still be sad. There's some people riding a bike in grass. Kind of interesting, but teach their own. So that's kind of my plan, to go back to New York in August to then visit my father, and he's got the German Shepherd up there as well, which I love. So visit them in August, hopefully before school starts. I'd like to go to California in maybe September or August-ish. California is obviously a very hot state, so I feel like it's a waste going there just in like the dead of summer. So I'd like to go there maybe like September, August, something like that, before it starts getting super cold, but while it's a little colder, to kind of escape it getting cold here. I have a friend over there who lives there, and I have never been out on the West Coast, or anywhere close to the West Coast for that matter. So I would like to just see California, see a couple of the spots, maybe go visit Alcatraz, visit my friend, maybe visit LA, probably not, just because that's a little farther than where I would probably be going around the San Francisco area. But yeah, just kind of getting out west. I know California is not the best state in terms of economic stability, in terms of homelessness, in terms of drug use. So I'll definitely make sure I'm in the safer areas, but I still want to get out to California. And I think California will continue to get worse before it gets better. So maybe basically the sooner I can get out there and just like say I've been there and experienced it briefly, the sooner I can get out of there and escape California. Hopefully not see anything too bad down there, but we'll see. Oh, there they go. They were just passing by. Okay. I was like, are they just riding a bike on the grass there? Or they're just passing by. Okay. So yeah, like I said, I want to get a house next year, so that's going to be a huge plan in the near future. I want a dog myself actually now, so I hadn't really wanted a dog. I didn't really want to take care of it. I didn't want to like pick up after it. But now like I've been talking to other people with dogs. Dogs are really cool. My dad has a dog. Dad has a German Shepherd. I love that German Shepherd. So I honestly want a dog now, and I think I would prefer a German Shepherd as well, just like my father. I've been kind of watching some videos on them, kind of watching how owners own them, kind of taking care of them, that kind of stuff. And I think a German Shepherd would just be overall a fantastic dog to have. So maybe I can get a German Shepherd once I get my new house. I know they're expensive, but that's okay. I think that's a price I'd be willing to pay if I really love the dog, which I think if I got a German Shepherd, I would definitely love that dog. So that maybe I'll get that next year, or maybe I'll wait a year and be in my house for a year or something like that. But yeah, I'd probably want to spend some time in my house without the German Shepherd, without any dog, and just get familiar with the area, get familiar with the house, and just learn how to live in the house for a while before I add a dog into my life at that point. But yeah, I definitely would want to get a dog not too far after I get a house, and then a new car. I actually might get a new car this summer, so I don't know if you can even see it in the frame there, but I have my blue Veloster Turbo over there, which I've had for 2 years now. And I usually swap cars about every 2 years just to get some new experience with some new cars. So this is right on that brink of my kind of time frame, my time frame. But, jeez, my throat. Never talked this much in my life. But yeah, with the used car market and the prices of gas and the price of cars and the price of everything to do with car-related stuff, maybe it's not the best time to swap my car out and buy a newer one. So I might just keep it for another year, see how the car market is next year, and kind of go out from there. But otherwise, I would like a new car, maybe this summer. If not, maybe next summer. I mean, the car's got 130k miles on it. Or no, not that much. 110k. So I don't know how much longer it'll last. It does have a turbo on it, which usually don't last as long as naturally aspirated cars, but it's been doing well. It hasn't had any major issues, no engine failure, no transmission failure, no turbo failure, and it's a fun car. So it's really small though. I said this in my last video, like I'm 6'4", 6'5", and it's a small hatchback car, so it's not the most spacious car for me, and I would like one a little better. I like small cars a lot, but this car is very small and it is a little uncomfortable at times. So I think popping up to something a little bigger would be a better option for me in the near future. So maybe this summer if I find a good deal on a used car. If not, I'm completely fine with having this one another year, maybe another 2 years. We'll see where that one goes. Otherwise, yeah, classes start fall 2022, so I'll spend the summer just chill, just look at houses, keep running, keep just living and relaxing, watching Netflix, watching TV, watching YouTube when I'm not running and stuff like that. Keeping it pretty low key. But yeah, I'll spend this summer running, and then start classes fall of 2022, where things will get super busy with work and class and maintaining my running and this, that, and the other. So gonna be doing that, and then yeah, other than that, I don't have too many big plans. I think that honestly covers everything, and this was a very long video, so I don't know. I think I covered everything. I hope it's still recording, honestly. I have enough storage. This is probably like a 5 gig video. But yeah, I'll do a little bit of freestyle soccer. Oh yeah. I haven't been doing much freestyle soccer at all, if I'm being fair. So I'll just do like one of these. Ready? There we go. I did a little bit yesterday, but other than that, it's been like many months. Oh yeah. I also have to mention, I forgot to mention, I have plantar fasciitis in both of my feet. So the arc of your foot, there's a tendon called the plantar fascia, and it's in both of your feet, so it's what kind of like holds up that arc. It gives you that arc in your foot. There's a tendon in there that's called the plantar fascia. And basically, plantar fasciitis is when that tendon becomes inflamed, and basically it causes a lot of pain. It usually happens after prolonged running on it, or like overuse of your feet and stuff. You can get plantar fasciitis, and that's what happened to me. So I initially just got it in my right foot, had that for months, and then recently, as of like a month or so ago, I got it in my left foot. So it's extremely painful. It's not like health threatening or anything. It's basically just a lot of pain. But I've been stretching, I've been icing it, and that's been helping both of these feet feel a little better. But that's another thing I've kind of been dealing with my running. So I've been trying to take that out. But like I said, it's not like health threatening or anything, so I can still run on it. It's just uncomfortable and painful. But yeah, other than that, there's my blue Veloster, there's a Jeep, just chilling, and then beautiful weather. Okay, 47 minutes. Nice. So yeah, beautiful day, and Memorial Day's tomorrow. Hopefully it goes well. And anyways, guys, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys whenever I post next.